I haven't talked to Mrs. Anderson's kiddos, because I'm pretty sure you're still seeing with that. But I can, from what I know from you, I get just how an amazing family you have. So we would like to introduce, I would like to call Kyle to come up here. Sorry, next. So please, give it up for him.
That was a little joke my brother and I have when we go to these kinds of things. We like to play this little game where we see how many times I get called Connor and how many times he gets called Kyle. I'm not sure who won yet, but we'll tally it at the end. Hello, everyone. My name is Kyle Anderson. My brother Connor and I are Danielle Anderson's two sons. I drew the short straw to be speaking with you here this evening. I was going to start with talking about how amazing this turnout is, but to be totally honest with you, it's exactly what I expected from my mom after 38 years. I hope my speech isn't going to be too long, but it's going to have two parts. For the first part, I want to tell you all what an amazing mother Danielle has been all these years. My brother and I both feel so blessed to be the children of Danielle and Ian Anderson. I used to think everyone's family was like ours. Everywhere we went, and I really mean everywhere, my mom would know several people. She would constantly run into current and previous students, parents of students, fellow teachers and administrators. I even remember a couple times my young mind being blown by my mom running into parents of current students that were her former students themselves. I would ask, "Mom, who was that?" And she would say, "That was one of her kids." And there I was, confused, looking back at the 35-year-old man my mom was just talking about. Our lives revolved around SF athletics. My brother and I were always on at least 2 teams at a time each, with 2 to 3 practices and 1 to 2 games a week per sport each. My mom was also head coach of my soccer team from kindergarten through 8th grade with the same group of guys. This resulted in only about 10 to 15 days of the year in which there wasn't an extracurricular after school or weekend activity. A funny story about that soccer team real quick. When you would get assigned a field, like Polo Fields number 3, for example, right? The parents of the soccer team stopped paying attention to what field number was because you could hear my mom from the parking lot. And it wasn't just sports. On top of that, my mom was incredibly involved in our schooling as well as our social development, taking us constantly from one side of the city to another, from this event to this practice to that friend's house. My brother and I don't have a single memory of either of my parents missing an important event in our lives. I used to think everyone's mom was this way, and I obviously now realize just how rare that level of devotion is. Whatever we love, she loves, and whoever we love, she loves. And I could not possibly ask for anything more from a parent. Now for the second part, I want to talk specifically about the Francisco Middle School and SFUSD family. The reason I say family is because I have not worked a day in my life for Francisco Middle School or SFUSD, And yet I have personal connections, stories, and experiences with so many of you, and yet I'm only connected via family. I'm sure it wasn't actually this long, but to me as a kid, it seemed like the Francisco PE teachers for my entire childhood were Danielle Anderson, Jack Jung, and Raleigh Tandy. I remember how my mom would talk about them, much less as coworkers, and much more as great friends or siblings. I played on numerous sports teams with Jack's son Josh, and I remember going to his daughter Michelle's volleyball games. They were and are such good friends. Raleigh Tandy was the baseball coach. Not only was he the baseball coach, but he was a real baseball coach who played baseball before becoming a teacher. Numerous times, Raleigh would take time out of his life and take me on one-on-one coaching sessions at Moscone for hours. Whenever I got a new baseball glove, I would send it to Raleigh for a month, and he would do whatever he did to make it soft and easy to open and close, like he did for his gloves. I still have all those gloves, by the way, and use them with my family now, and they are still just as easy to open and close. Rest in peace, Raleigh Tandy. He wouldn't have missed tonight's These people were my introduction to Francisco and where Mom works. Back then, I used to think there were two schools, the regular school and the other side of the street, Mom's school. Which may not have been too far off, by the way. As a little guy obsessed with sports, the gym was a magical place for me. Having a full-size indoor basketball court to myself was something from a dream. And I can remember walking into the ballroom or equipment room below the stage and being in awe of all the things to play with. I don't live in the city anymore and haven't been as present in recent years, but I know there's so many of you that I don't know. And my brother and I just want to thank you for being amazing people and being friends with our mom. There's a few people, however, that come to mind who have transcended an at-work relationship and we truly consider part of our extended family. Jack Jung, Raleigh Tandy, Kelly Taggart, Don Collins, John Zlatovich, Juliet Sui, Felipe Segovia, Tony Catalini, Shane McLennan, Ken Lee, and Karen Haddon. Today is obviously a celebration of an outstanding career, but I do feel as though I must mention how we are all robbed of Karen Hadley's presence here tonight. When I talk about family that my mom has at work, there's no better example in history probably than Danielle Anderson and Karen Hadley. She was my mom's very best friend, regardless of anything to do with school or work, and she would have been here speaking tonight. So proud of you, Mom. She also would have been egging me on about how her speech was going to be better than mine. And she would have been right. This was something that they were going to do together. One time, one of my middle school friends told me, "Your mom is the Miss Hadley of her school." And it's hard to explain exactly what that means, but it's exactly right, and quite possibly the best compliment I've ever heard. Rest in peace, Karen Hadley. I do have one story about one of the people who probably worked as hard as anybody to put this whole thing together, Ken Lee. Some of you have probably already heard this story, but there's almost 200 people here, so I figure it's worth retelling. My mom and Felipe spent the whole day one day cleaning the equipment room in the annex building. It was a long and exhausting day. After they finished, Mom went to the gas station to fill up her car. And when she was putting the nozzle in the car, she noticed something on her ring finger was missing. Not the ring, but missing was just the single diamond, vacant from her wedding ring setting. My mom was instantly heartbroken. She called one of her best friends, Ken, just to tell him about what happened and really just to say, "Can you believe it?" Ken said, go back, I'll meet you in 15 minutes," and hung up the phone. My mom called him back several times, but he wouldn't answer because he knew she would tell him just to go home. My mom and Ken went equipment room to equipment room, sweeping the floor and then meticulously searching through dust and corners of each room, trying to find the diamond. Ken swept the entire gym floor, section by section, late into the evening. My mom and Felipe had brought all the trash from their cleanup into the alleyway trash area. Mom and Ken went through trash bag after trash bag, sifting through the garbage with a stick. Now, I don't know about all of you, but I don't think I would spend my evening digging through the trash for any coworker I've ever had. but that's Ken.
Yes, it is.
They had gotten through almost all the trash cans, and my mom was feeling rather defeated. She was saying things like, "It's okay, Ken, it's gone. It might not even be here. It could have come off after I left school." But Ken kept searching all the way up to the last trash bag, where when sifting through the dirt, found my mom's diamond from her wedding ring. He held it up and said, "Danielle, would this possibly be your diamond?" To which Mom replied with an all-familiar classic, "You think?" "Of course it's my diamond." When I first heard this story, my response was, if it wasn't your diamond, you should both quit and just start hunting for diamonds in the trash. The story is significant for a couple of reasons. One is the fact that my mom has her complete original wedding ring, which someday, a long time from now, will be a prized possession of my brother and I. So Ken, thank you for that. The whole story is also just a great metaphor for the kind of person and friend Ken Lee is.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for being so good to my mom and my family. Every holiday for many years, my mom would organize this big fundraiser. Every year she would reach out to alumni, raise money various ways all year long. I remember our garage around Christmas time, not full of a car like usual, but full of rows and rows of large bags. Each bag filled with brand new winter clothes, multiple jackets, pants, shoes. The goal, to give these care packages to the most financially unfortunate youth at the school. My mom has spent countless hours on evenings and weekends going to every Old Navy within 100 miles and beyond, seeking out deals so as to spend the donation money in the best way possible. Many of you in this room have either donated and/or helped with this. And that all sounds great. But it's the method by which these care packages were given that I think is so important. Each student that received a care package received it by believing they won a raffle that all the students had entered, and they were lucky enough to have been a winner. That was a truly beautiful way of giving, with no thank you, no credit given or received. But tonight, Mom,
Yes.
tonight is for getting credit and giving thank yous. on behalf of all those kids and their families, thank you, Mom. I'll end with one last thing. Most people are not blessed with having their mother at their retirement party. So I just wanted to shout out my grandma, Nola Prohl. Who turns 99 in 3 months. And has been one of my mom's biggest supporters of her life and is so very proud of all 3 of her children. Thank you.